take you back live to announcement by Premier Doug Ford. He's now answering questions from reporters. Let's listen in.
I don't want to pick on municipalities. Let me be very transparent. There's waste in government. There's waste at Queen's Park. There's waste in municipalities. There's waste at the federal government. And it's our job as prudent fiscal managers for the taxpayers to drive out the waste and help them. The easy thing to do for any politician is to go up and say, we're going to increase development fees, which is a tax on the home buyer. That's what it is. And it's just not fair. And I'll give the people at home an example. Out in Mississauga, before you get the shovel in the ground, they're upwards to $135,000. And they want to increase that. Well, guess who's going to pay for that out in Mississauga? The young couples, the new Canadians that are out there, and they just want to keep tacking it on. We can't continue doing it. And by the way, they're going to still get their $135,000. But when it comes to affordable and attainable homes, we're saying no. How can you tax social programs that the government's paying? And I remember Mayor Tory even agreed at one time, I'm not too sure where he's standing now, but on social programs and attainable homes and affordable homes, it's like the government taxing the government. It doesn't make sense. But again, I want to work with them. I want to build homes. We have a plan, and we're going to continue building on our plan. It's a strong plan.
Morning, Premier. Liam Casey with the Canadian Press.
Hi.
I was at Sick Kids yesterday for work and was talking to a bunch of nurses and doctors, and they were telling me on the day before there was a moment of jubilation, joy, and real morale boost when the decision came down that struck down Bill 124. A couple hours later, your government signaled it was going to appeal. And some of these workers wanted me to ask you, why are you appealing Bill 124?
Well, first of all, I think the world of our frontline healthcare workers, we had a great deal with OMA. And Bill 124 is not going to exist. It's basically not going to exist and doesn't exist when they renegotiate. And we don't negotiate hand in hand. The hospitals, people like Kevin Smith negotiate with hiring the nurses. So, I just want to thank them. Yes, we're going to appeal. My hands are tied on what I can say. It's in front of the courts right now. I can say it was a very interesting verdict, to say the least, but that's about as far as I can comment on that. I think we just look forward to the Court of Appeal because there's precedent throughout the country that they ruled another way. So I'm just trying to rationalize why the ruling came down the way it was. But I have confidence in our judiciary system, our judges, and I'm sure they'll make the proper decision.
Will you use the notwithstanding clause to keep Bill 124 alive?
No, I want to go through the process, and I always believe in treating people fairly. I've never been opposed to, working with them. You saw what happened with QP. I think I'm very flexible, very open-minded. Do you know what the worst thing an elected official or a politician does? And a ton of them do it, like probably 99%. They make a decision, they dig their heels in, and they just won't budge. And then they start doubling down and tripling down. I think I've proved to the people of Ontario over the 4 years, if I feel something's going the wrong way or if I've made a judgment call, I go out there, I apologize, tell them what we're going to do to correct it, and move forward. That's what you need to do.
Hi, Premier. Lorenda Redekop with CBC
Lorenda.
News. Hi. I'd like to first hear from Kevin Smith, if I could, on this
Sure.
one, and then from you, which is, what are the nursing vacancy numbers like at UHN right now? And would you describe this as a mass exodus that's happened?
Well, I'll pass it over to Kevin, and the best person on my side would be Minister of Health.
Hope to hear from you as well, Premier.
Yeah, sure, okay. I'd be more than happy. Yes, sure.
Hi, Lorenda. Normally, because of the size of UHN, we're Canada's largest hospital, we'd have about 200 vacancies churning. At the peak, we had up to 600 vacancies, and at the moment, we're working around 400 vacancies. And so we have not seen a mass, quote-unquote, exodus. We have seen more people in higher acuity areas who've been very stressed, like ICUs and other domains, looking at working in lower acuity areas. I don't have the data at my the fingertips, Lyndra, but the other great data source would be the Healthcare of Ontario Pension Plan, looking at the number of people who are triggering their pensions as exiting. And my understanding is it doesn't look dramatically different yet. Last but certainly not least, the dialogue we're having particularly with our valued nursing colleagues is a number who have left the active treatment side of practice. As we're seeing and trying to bring in more people, international grads, young nurses who we can evaluate in terms of their skill and competency, work with the college to get them licensed. While they're tired and don't want to do direct nursing care anymore, they're more than willing to come back and work with us on mentorship, skills supervision, and education. So we're very encouraged by that side of the coin. I'll turn it over to Minister Jones.
Thank you. You know, the numbers actually show that we have more nurses working in the hospital sector, in the public health units, in primary care. Basically, every sector has increased numbers of nurses. There is no doubt that as a result of the pandemic, it has been a challenging time in our healthcare system, which is exactly why we continue to make the investments, direct the College of Nurses to assess and ultimately license internationally educated nurses. Those numbers are showing historic licensing happening in this year. And I think that speaks to we want to continue to build the capacity and the number of healthcare practitioners who are working in Ontario. We're doing that work in the short, medium, and long term, but without a doubt, it has been a challenging time because of the unknowns of the pandemic and now, of course, the triple threat. Again, if we want to assist as a community, get your flu shot. Get your bivalent vaccine. That ultimately is going to do a lot to protect our emergency departments in particular and our healthcare providers. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to very similar to Kevin and the Deputy Premier. We have spent unprecedented amounts when it comes to making sure that not only do we enhance the infrastructure of hospitals to a tune of $50 billion and close to 50, it's probably about a little over 40 now, but it'll be up to $50 billion with 50 sites across the province. We're hiring more nurses. The College of Nurses have come out and said we've had a record year. We still have another month left in that. We brought on over, and I got to give the College of Nurses a real shout out. They really stepped up. They've brought in over 6,000 internationally trained nurses. We're going to have them into the system as well. But we haven't spared a penny when it comes to HHR, Health Human Resources. And has it been a challenge? Sure, it's been a challenge. But we have a record number of students in the system now, over 30,000 of them. And we welcome all the new students. On top of the med schools, we've brought in more med students than we've ever seen in 2 years, with adding to the Scarborough University of Toronto Scarborough campus, along with building a new med school in Brampton. So we're going to continue to invest unprecedented amounts. Last year's budget, we increased it by $5.6 billion. The year before that, $5 billion. And I want to thank, too, are the CEOs, true leaders like Kevin Smith that are always there thinking outside the box. And there's many of them like Kevin, coming up with new ways to deliver healthcare through technology and other systems, through processes. And they're just absolute champions. Everyone's working together to make sure we have a great healthcare system, and I truly believe we have the best docs, the best CEOs, the best nurses, the best healthcare workers anywhere in the world. I'll put our Team Ontario up against anyone in the world.
Follow On the Ontario line,
All right, Premier Doug Ford taking questions from reporters. He's being asked about Bill 124. That's the legislation which caps some public sector workers' wage by 1% for 3 years. He's saying that he can't really comment on the matter, but he's trying to rationalize the ruling of the courts. Also talking about the vacancy of nurses in hospitals, particularly at UHN, where Kevin Smith says there are currently 400 nursing vacancies.